Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lesbian Detectives. We had a long weekend, but I enjoyed every second of it.
Same.
Mama had her all-white party, and guys, I was kind of nervous because I'm like, oh my god, another party, But this one was 10 out of 10. I have to say, it was like one of my top favorite parties. I was like, okay, my 30th is in 2 years. I am ready to plan my 30th now.
The shocker was the baby. I didn't know she could dance. 2-year-old following after some AKAs. She couldn't do the pinky, but she did the pointy finger. So there's a lot to look forward to.
Right, because I was shocked because she danced at home. But usually she's like 10 seconds in and she's like, okay, I'm done. But no, she did not leave that dance floor. When my mama left the dance floor, she came and like, no, keep dancing with me.
Right.
Guys, I hope we all had a good weekend. I hope November is bringing you all the love that it's supposed to. Let's finish out this year really good. Today's case is about a young single mother getting her rights and stalked by an unknown man who made strange phone calls to her saying he loved her and also he wanted to murder her. When he called, she always said she knew that voice, but she could not place it. No one thought the stalker would act on it until one day she was taken and killed. This is the case of Dorothy Jane Scott. Dorothy Jane Scott was born on April 23, 1948 in Pennsylvania to parents Jacob and Vera. The Scott family eventually moved out to California. Dorothy was kind, quiet, and reliable. Dorothy was a devoted single mom to her 4-year-old Sean. Sean's father, Dennis Terry, lived in Missouri, but occasionally he visited his son. Dorothy was employed as a secretary for 2 jointly owned businesses, and one of them was a hair shop, and the other one was specialized in items like lava lamps and love beans. She and Sean resided in California with her aunt. However, Jacob and Vera occasionally had the responsibility of watching their grandchild while their daughter worked. She enjoyed leading a quiet life and was known as a homebody. She never engaged in drinking or drugs. She was a devout Christian. Dorothy was single and she rarely dated. According to her family, in the early 1980s, Dorothy began to receive disturbing phone calls while at work. The caller was an unknown man. He would either talk about how much he loved her or he threatened against her life. During one of these phone calls, he told her that he would find a way to get to her alone and then cut her up into tiny pieces and no one would ever find her again.
When did it actually start?
Well, she told her family in the 1980s.
She had no idea who it was?
She really didn't. She always said that she recognized the person's voice, but she couldn't place the person's voice. So it sounded very familiar, but she's like, who is it? It could have been somebody that passed her a couple of times and said something. She like kind of knew, but kind of didn't know. She felt like she recognized the stalker voice, but she never quite was able to place it. One day he called and he said, go outside because he had something for her. She went outside and she found a single dead rose on her windshield of her car.
I would not go outside.
That's what I was saying. Like, I read that part. I was like, girl, don't go outside. You never go outside when they tell you. Like, it's like a horror movie when they're like, like the phone ring, you like, don't answer it.
I got something for you, and then you've been threatening me. No, I don't want to find out.
Right. Like, she should have called her dad like, Dad, can you come see, or call the police.
Right.
Dorothy was deeply shaken by the unsettled behavior, and she had started attending a karate lesson just a week before she went missing. She also thought about getting a gun for self-defense. So it seemed like she was like, okay, like, it's getting serious. I need to protect myself.
But she like reminds me a little bit of like the scary movies where they're like, don't go, but then they go where they're not supposed to.
On May the 28th, 1980, at 9 p.m., Dorothy was at work. While there, she noticed her coworker Conrad appeared to be unwell, and he had a red bite on his arm. She and another colleague, Pam, headed to the emergency room. According to Pam, Dorothy had Sean with her at that meeting that night, but they stopped by her parents' house to drop him off before going to the hospital. For some unknown reason, she switched her scarf from a black one to a red one before departing. Once at the hospital, Conrad was admitted, and the medical staff informed them that he was bitten by a black widow spider.
Dang.
What kind of spider is that? I'm scared of every animal.
I believe that's a poisonous spider.
Oh, so it was good that they really took him into the hospital, because guys, don't judge me about me not knowing. I feel like every spider is dangerous. I'm very, very scared of every type of animal.
Slash insect. Slash person.
I'm not scared.
Slash identity.
Hold on, wait, pause. What's about this person thing?
You're scared of everybody.
You should be scared of everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you never know who people really are.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, kind of agree with you. Dorothy and Pam remained in the ER waiting room while he was being treated. Pam said that Dorothy never left her sight the entire time. Around 11 p.m., Conrad was finally released from the hospital. The doctor wrote him up a prescription, and he was discharged. When it was time to go, Dorothy told them to wait while she go get the car. Before she went to get the car, she walked to the ladies' rooms, used the bathroom, headed to the parking lot alone. Several minutes passed as Conrad and Pam waited for Dorothy. Then suddenly, they finally saw her car approaching. Then out of nowhere, it passed them and drove off and turned.
That's where he got her. But they have plenty of cameras in the hospitals, don't
But
they?
it was like the early 80s, so it was kind of hard. Like, their cameras probably not as good as our cameras. But Pam and Conrad, they assumed that it was Dorothy driving. But they really couldn't see because the headlights were so, like, bright.
Right, yeah.
Dorothy was never seen alive again. A few hours later, when neither Pam or Conrad nor Dorothy family had seen or heard from her, they reported her missing. During their search for the vanished woman, the police located her white 1973 Toyota station wagon at around 4:30 a.m. It was abandoned. It was also burning in an alley around 10 miles away from the hospital. Law enforcement saw no one at the scene, including Dorothy.
So he burnt the car to get rid of evidence, but I don't know how their forensic evidence, how far it was, like if they were able to get fingerprints and do hair samples, DNA.
I feel like they probably did, because you think about the Catherine case, they got fingerprints in hers, and hers was like in the early years. So I feel like they had fingerprints, because think about it, everybody got fingerprinted when they got a new job around that time. Trust me, only reason I know is because my mom had to go through it in the 80s. So I feel like they did, but it still wasn't advanced. But how he burnt the car, could they get the evidence?
No.
Seemed like he was very smart to me.
Yeah, but also psycho.
On June the 12th, 1980, someone contacted the Orange County Register, claiming to know Dorothy Faith. The unidentified man gave a brief but chilling account of what he has done to her.
Oh, wow.
I killed her. I killed Dorothy Scott. She was my love. I caught her cheating on me with another man. She denied having someone. I killed her.
So he thought that the guy that took to the hospital, Conrad, was possibly the one that she was, quote unquote, cheating on him with.
We don't know who he thought it was, because her family said she was dating nobody. She was like very single.
No, I know. So any crazy person, psycho person like this guy is going to think that any guy that comes close to her might be her boyfriend because of the way that he views her. He might think that any other guy is going to view her the same. So maybe when he saw that she took him to the hospital, was taking care of another man, was being there for another man, made him jealous, and that's the day that he snapped and he took her.
This man knew what color scarf she was wearing too that night that she took Conrad to the hospital. Because we all remember she switched scarves, so even if he saw her earlier, he could have got it wrong. But when she went to the house, you remember she switched scarf colors. So he had to see her. He had to take her.
Yeah, he was a stalker.
He also said that she had called him from the hospital. But Pam said that never happened. That Dorothy stayed right beside her through the whole visit. Detectives felt certain that this was assailants, but they couldn't figure out who he was. We just can't put that together, said Jacob, Dorothy's father. She worked from morning to evening. She lived with my sister. She might have occasionally dated, but nothing went far. So it seemed like because she was a homebody, that's why everybody was confused about how he was assuming all this stuff because she just stayed at home. She went to work, played with her son, and that was her day.
Though that's probably what he liked about her, that she was a good girl. And then as soon as she gets close to another man, he thinks the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking out loud.
As we all are. In the wake of the strange disappearance, Dorothy's parents began receiving unsettling calls almost every Wednesday afternoon. Each time the man would say he either abducted Dorothy and still had her or he murdered her. And that's just sick. Like,
He wants attention.
like you already took their child. Now you're like harassing them. Like, haha. Like basically saying, ha 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 ha, I got her.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing about it. And definitely as a parent, that has to hurt the most because it's like, you're here to protect your child and you're not protecting your child. The person who got your child is harassing you.
Right.
You can't do nothing about it. That has to suck for them.
I wonder if he used like a payphone or if he used his phone number. Was there caller ID back then? Any way to track?
I'm about to answer that question for you. Law enforcement attempted to trace the call, but was unable due to the fact that he never stayed in the line long enough. While the police was capable of tracing the call today, they wasn't in the 1980s. So it seemed like they didn't have good technology. Like now, I feel like it's like 10, 20, like 15 seconds, they got the call.
I wonder if he was a policeman. It makes sense because policemen are always on watch. How do you know how long it takes for somebody to track your call? Like he had all this evidence. Or maybe he wasn't a policeman, but he knew a policeman. I don't know. He was getting his information somewhere.
But one thing about this case, I'll get more into the theories, but I'm just putting it out there for now. He always called her at work. Never at home, but only at work. And I always wonder, like, why was it always at work?
He didn't have her home phone.
But he had the parents' number. See? Her mom was always the one that answered the calls. However, on one occasion, her father picked up and he immediately hung up. Several months would go by before they heard from him again. That means to me he couldn't handle the father.
Right.
That means to me you're a weak man. Most abusive men, when a man approached them, they get scared because they're weak. They only can go for a woman because they feel like a woman is weaker than them. So it seemed like when the mama was there, he was like, oh, playing games with him. But the dad was like, give me that phone. Talk to me. And he couldn't deal with the dad. That means you're weak to me. You couldn't deal with a man. On August 6, 1984, 4 years since Dorothy had vanished, construction workers made a shocking discovery. A partial human skeleton beneath bones of a dog. They were located approximately 30 feet away from Santa Ana Canyon Road. Come on, 7 miles away from the hospital. Guys, I have to stop for this second right quick. But do anybody know that, like, that's actually really a smart thing? It's like when you bury somebody, you put a animal on top of it.
Right.
For him to know that in the 80s?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he either was a cop or an investigator or was part of law enforcement or knew somebody that was...
Because that's smart. I didn't know that until, like, 2 years ago? So... in the 80s, you really can't just Google that information.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was very knowledgeable.
Dental records used to positively identify the human remains as belonging to Dorothy Jane Scott. Additionally, her turquoise ring were at the scene too. The watch had stopped at 12:32 a.m. on May the 29th, roughly an hour and a half after she was last seen by Pam and Conrad.
You said that her watch stopped
At
at a certain time?
12:32 a.m. on May the 29th. Her body showed signs of charring, which led law enforcement to speculate that her body has been there for at least 2 years since a wildfire had swept through the area in 1982. So they believe that she was there for only 2 years. I don't know if he kept her body with him or he hit her or, something, a struggle. After Dorothy was found, her parents received a call. The man laughed and said, "Is Dorothy home?" And he hung up and never called the Scotts again.
Dang.
Dennis Terry, the father of Dorothy's child, was quickly ruled out as a suspect because he'd been in Missouri the whole time, and his alibi was verified by police. Dorothy's remains was found on the property of John, Dorothy Boss. Although it wasn't clear if the bone had been placed there for a reason or if the simply been carried by the heavy rain and flooded. The police couldn't figure out any connection to John with the murder and never officially named him as a suspect. Another person of interest and perhaps the strongest suspect was Mike Butler. His sister worked with Dorothy and he had been obsessed with her. He allegedly had a history of cult activity and mental illness as well. Sean, who's an adult now, he felt like Butler was his mother killer. Authorities believe that whoever was responsible for Dorothy's death likely went to kill again because there's another case that looks similar to Dorothy. Patricia Jean, 25, went missing from work on July the 31st, 1982. She was employed as a waitress in India Hills, California. At 3:35 a.m., she made a call to the local Circle K to say that her vehicle was broken down. That was the last time that anyone has ever seen Patricia or heard from her again. Around 5:30 a.m., Riverside County officer discovered her Toyota Celica burning in a field. Patricia has never been found and her case remained unsolved. Dorothy Jane Scott case is still open but has gone cold due to lack of information. Sadly, her parents has passed away in 1994 and 2002. Mike Butler died in 2014 at the age of 68. Sean, as well as Dorothy's other surviving loved ones, are still hopeful that her case will be solved and might give them closure. Before we end this case, remember the person that we talked about. Dorothy Scott was a kind soul. She was a beautiful person inside and out. She was sweet and she was a homebody. She just went to work and came home to be with her son. She was working so hard to provide for her son. Her son grew up without his mother. Her son is still trying to find the person that hurt his mom. I know this case is still cold, but it's never too late to solve a case. Please, if you have any information, tell the police. And this is the case of Dorothy Scott. Let's get into some theories.
Let's get into some theories.
Me first or you?
Me.
Okay, go.
So I think it was Michael Butler because he checked the most boxes out of everybody. Now I know you said that it could have been the boss. They mentioned that they found her body in her boss's home or property. But I don't think he was that dumb. Like whoever this was very calculated. So I don't think they would give themselves up like that. So I do think it was Michael Butler. He had mental illness. He knew her through his sister. So he clearly already had that phone number from the business. And I feel like it's really easy to get a business phone number because it's business. They were saying that he was also a very obsessive person. He was obsessed with her. So I feel like he did it.
The only reason I didn't because Michael and his sister and Dorothy, they hanged out a lot. So she would recognize his voice. She said she heard the voice before, but she couldn't place it. There'd be one voice that she knew the best because he was always around his sister. I feel like it had to be someone in that building. For some reason, I thought it was a janitor. Think about somebody that's like, you can't see that much. That he's always there. He probably said, "Hey, can I take your trash?" She probably heard that man speak before, but she couldn't place it. I don't know. I'd assume because what if she was getting closer to her boss and he kind of saw it and he was getting jealous? What if it was the boss that he felt like she would cheat on him with? Because that was like working late at a meeting and all that stuff. She had to work closer with her boss, always around him. That man probably saw her with the boss. It was like, I don't like that. And that's why he put her body on his land. I feel like it was something towards the boss than anything.
That makes sense too. You want to have them close. But I was going to say a lot of people's voice changes over the phone. Like sometimes, I know I sound different in person than I do over the phone.
No, not really.
I mean, some people do. Or sometimes whenever somebody's on the phone, like say they're doing something bad, they're going to try and alter their voice. So maybe that's why it sounded familiar, but she couldn't make it out. I just don't think, like, somebody who's a crazy serial killer, they'll probably just take a trophy. But once they're done with that person, they take their lives, they'll probably just take a trophy. But I don't think they would incriminate themselves like that.
No. What do you mean, the boss?
Yeah.
Because he was smart. He burnt the car. He placed a dead animal on top of her. He wouldn't put on his land. He wouldn't put on his land. I think for some reason, I feel like the killer, Dorothy, and the boss are very connected for some reason. Like something, because he put it on the boss land for a reason. It was something about the boss.
Well, maybe the boss was like another man in her life. And that's why he was like, okay, if I obsess this much over her, maybe this other man will. Like, I don't know, like people like that, you don't know their reasoning. But it almost seems like he had an issue with men. Like you even said, when her dad picked up that phone, he hung up. He couldn't have a conversation with another man. And it's like, back to the theory that I was saying, whenever they took Conrad to the hospital, like that's when he just flipped the F off. Like he killed her because she was interacting with another man. It's like men triggered him for some reason.
I was thinking about that day. Because you guys know I like to picture it, right? She's in a meeting with her coworker. She has her son with her too. So it's got to be like, her boss had to be cool for her to bring her son. Because nowadays, that's not going to lie out. So Conrad got sick. He got bitten by something. So like, okay, let's take him back. I wonder, was he in the parking lot? Watching her wait until she get out? Because he had to see her drive home, drop her son off. Well, drive to her parents' house, drop her son off, and drive back to the hospital. He had to sit there because they was in there. We all know. We all been to the ER before. It's not a quick visit. So he had to sit there for, I don't know, like a couple of hours just waiting. That he had to be that mad. And for him to lie and say, oh, she called him. And Pam was like, no, he wasn't. One thing about a stalker, they have this picture of what the person doing to them. Like, oh, we in love. We love each other. But that person probably never even met that person before. Only reason I don't think it is Michael, because they say he had mental illness. I feel like he wasn't that smart. Not because he had mental illness, because he showed his obsession. This person seemed like he kind of hide behind it. He didn't want to be seen, if you think about it. He put that rose on her windshield. He like, go look at it. She would have saw, like, I don't know. I seem like Michael, because I read about him a little bit. He was always in her face like, oh, I love you, all this. But this person, he was kind of hidden a little bit. He didn't want to be seen. He didn't make a move on her. What if he did make a move? What if she just smiled? Because you know how some guys are. Not all guys. I'm not going to put it out there. Some guys are. You can smile at them and they think you want them.
If it was Mike in the parking lot, she was going to recognize him. And maybe that's why she was trusting. And then maybe that's when he snatched her. It's almost like she knew him, or she thought she knew him. I don't know.
One thing I couldn't found, and I don't know if guys you can correct me on it, the police. I never really read that she went to the police about this.
Right.
Because I look, and sometimes I don't want to put some information on the podcast if I don't know the real answer. Some said she did. Some said she didn't. So I don't know if she really did went to the police. But it seemed like she was scared enough to like, I need to go get a gun. That was one thing that was important to me. And she started taking lessons to defend herself. I feel like he didn't kill her immediately. For some reason, he had to live out his fantasy world. And then he had to kill her. Like, I don't know. Because we have seen with cases where women get abducted or kids get abducted and they are kept alive for a long, long time. Like JC. She was abducted at her school bus and she was kept for years and had kids with her abductor. So I don't know. Do I feel like I feel like he wouldn't killed her too fast. He was too obsessed. To me, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, if she made him mad enough, if she said, no, I don't love you or whatever, like, he's like, okay, what's the point of me obsessing over this woman that doesn't care for me? And maybe he's tried to make her love him, but if she doesn't feel that way and then she gets kind of hateful towards him because she has a son, he is like the last thing on her mind. So the love wasn't reciprocated. So he was like, okay, like, let's end this.
I wonder if they record the calls with the parents. Record the calls. And I wonder if they have a video of Mike now. I mean, Mike is dead. We all know that. But I wonder if they can, because nowadays technology is amazing. I wonder if they can get the recordings and Mike's voice and put it together. Because it would tell you, even though if he tried to hide his voice, it was still, picked up on certain words. I wonder if they can do that. I always wondered that part, did you keep the recordings?
Right.
Because it seemed like they were trying to trace, so it seemed like they probably recorded a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody has, even 2014, so they had to have, a video or recording of his voice a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, go ahead.
Or when the police interview him, they taped it. Can we see it? Can you try your best then?
I know it was definitely somebody close, and how they probably got the parents' phone number is say they did hold a service for her of her disappearing, or they have missing, call this number. Maybe that's how they got the parents' number.
Or, back in the day, guys, I have to do my little research, that you would call a number hey, I want to get in contact with this person.
The 411?
Yeah, 411. And they probably got it like that. Because it was easy back then to get people a number. It's hard nowadays.
I feel like it's easier now than back then.
Oh, agree or disagree on that one. What do you guys think? Is it easier or harder to get people a number nowadays?
Easier. Technology. Come on now.
Okay. I don't know. We'll talk about this later.
Okay. But, I mean, for sure they were probably putting out their information. Hey, call this number if you find her. I don't know if they offered some reward before they found her body.
I wonder why they took the friends, because the friends saw it. I wish the friends, because they assumed it was her. And think about it. What if he was in her car waiting on her?
Did they interview any of her friends?
Yeah, they interviewed Pam and Conrad, and they told exactly what happened. That's why when he said, oh, yeah, she called me from the hospital saying to come get her, Pam was like, no, she didn't. She sat right beside me through the whole thing. She never left my sight. So how did she go and call you? That's what I'm saying. It's somebody that he lives in a fantasy world, that he think that Dorothy wanted him.
That's why I think it was Mike, because he did suffer from a mental illness.
I don't know. I think it was somebody at the job, because she was a secretary for 2 companies. So it could be anybody that she just met on a day. Because stalkers, it doesn't take much for them to stalk you, really. They just see you one good time, oh, she's flirting with me. Oh, she loves me. Oh, she could have said hi to this man. He hi back and she wants me.
Right, but the top 2 suspects were her boss and Mike. Right?
Yeah. That's the only thing they had, but they could never pinpoint on Mike. The police never believed it was Mike because they felt like Mike wasn't smart enough to do it. This one is tricky because it could be, first of all, let's say it can be anybody. It could be someone hidden. It could have been her boss. It could have been Mike. It could have been a janitor. It could have been a cafeteria person. We don't know. But to me, he didn't stop. Even after Patricia, I felt like he kept going because it seemed like his target was gone. He needed a new one. But it seemed like he has another target. I wonder if he's a serial killer. Because he had Dorothy, then they said Patricia. Okay, Patricia, we don't know if alive or dead. What if he's okay, done with her and move on to a new target? Because he seemed like he's going to go to target. Because a person like that doesn't seem like they can hold down a job because he has a stalk. You can't stalk and working. So what if he lived like his parents or a family member to stalk her? Do you think the person might had a job or like a decent life?
No.
Do you think he was a charmer? What do you think
No.
this person like?
I feel like this person hides. He hides behind a telephone line and he pretends to be something he's not. And the only way that he feels like he's safe to be and express himself as he really is behind a mask. So I'm thinking that that's why it was Mike. Like, you can hide behind your disability or your mental illness or whatever the case, but there are flags. There are things that you can't mask. And one of them is obsession. To me, like, when you're obsessed with somebody, like, you can't hide it. I'm not an obsessive person, I promise. But I remember, like, whenever I first was realizing that I was gay, and I remember like seeing a pretty girl and like that girl would be like in my mind, you know, and it's not that I'm like obsessing, but I knew that I was like, okay, like she's pretty, like she's in my mind, but I'm not going to do anything inappropriate, you know? To me, it was like just in my mind. But with somebody who isn't able to process reality with what is going on in their mind, might actually act on those feelings. Like they really believe, oh my God, like this girl's so pretty. She looked at me, kind of like what you were saying. Oh, she loves me, or all of this. Like they might have a dream and not be able to tell whether that really happened or not. Like they're living in a fantasy world. They cannot separate the two. So because he was an obsessive compulsive person, that's why I feel like he did this, because he wasn't living in a reality world. I don't know, that's just my theory.
Only thing I feel like it's not Mike. Mike showed, like he said, like I like you, I love you, I want to be with you. This person, to me, how he act, he kind of hid. He kind of wanted to terrify her a little bit. Mike,
Yeah, because what if she turned him down?
I'm trying to say that like Mike was like always in her face trying to date him. I mean, always in her face trying to date her. But this person seemed like he was hiding behind closed door. He wanted her to know that he saw her, but he didn't want to be known. To me, I don't feel like it's Mike, because Mike, everybody knew he was obsessed with her. He could have easily figured it out. But this person right here, he kind of hid it to me. If Mike, he knew that, everybody knew that Mike liked her, right? I was crazy about her. When think about the rose, when he placed it, he would have stayed there like, yeah, like you see, he would have showed her like, yeah, I did this for you.
But what if he sees that his first approach isn't working, so then comes his second approach, something more mysterious, almost like the modern now catfish that we have going on?
I'm sorry, I don't think it's Mike. I think it's somebody that she met probably once or twice that was like, oh my God, she want to be with me. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's Mike.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Hopefully we have an answer soon with this case.
Let's agree to disagree.
I feel like we really never agree on who we think the person is. So what are your guys' theories on it? Tell us in the description. Tell us in the comments. Go to our YouTube, watch the case, tell us, or even email us, inbox us. Tell us what your thoughts are on this case. We are on all social medias. We are on YouTube. We are on all major podcast platforms. Follow us. Do a review on us. Tell us how you feel about this case or any other cases. We also have case suggestions. Please tell us what case that you would like to hear. I did have somebody and said that he wanted a case, and trust me, it's on its way. It will be come out this month, as I promised. But I cannot wait to hear what you guys thought. Thank you all for supporting us. We are our newly true crime podcast. We're learning the ins and out of this, but we are thankful for everybody that has followed us, liked us, listened to our crazy theories, and we are so thankful for you guys. We love you guys. You are our detectives. Thank you so much. This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
Don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
Until proven innocent.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break? Or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now, Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready. Let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.